YouTubers, welcome to the TainoXtreme YouTube channel. Again, today I'm going to be showing you about this extra layer of warmth that I created for my sleeping bag. That was a total success, using it in a fashion that I don't intend it for it. This is what it is. It's composed of two materials, and I gave it the shape of my sleeping bag. You know, sleeping bags, mommy shapes are wide in top and narrow in the bottom where you go to your feet, right? So my intention for this was to put it in the outside of my sleeping bag on top of the upper panel, that part that goes on your chest, like so. And I did it with velcros around in every so many inches apart. Put it on top of my sleeping bag, and I went out there in my backyard during the winter time. I did it twice actually, and the first time I used it in this fashion that I just explained, it was a total failure. But let me explain you how I made it, or what it's made like. This has two materials. In this side that I intended to be the bottom side that goes against my sleeping bag, you can see this reflective material. This is this foam. Sorry about the crinkling noise. This is very noisy. It's this. This is a sun reflector thing that you can buy at the $1 store for the windshield of your car. Let me show it to you. See? That's what it is. And it's made out of very thin, what do you call it, foam. And it has this reflective material here, just like the emergency kind of blanket. It's exactly the same material, it's just a lot thinner and a lot lighter. So that's what that part is made of. And the upper part, the part that is intended to be, you know, outer, facing out, is made out of what I call it pactive, but it's house wrap. It's this material here. It's like it is plastic, but it has a very particular feature that I like a lot. It's breathable, and it's the name brand of Lowe's hardware store. They make it in a company, well, a company named Pactive makes it for them. And I call it also, what do you call it? The other house wrap name brand that everybody uses nowadays for backpacking purposes. Tyvek. Okay, I call it Tyvek-like, and that previous material that I showed you, I call it also Insultech-like, because Insultech is a material that is pretty much the same thing, but it has a layer of perhaps, I don't know if it's polyester or nylon, and both sides, just to give it strength, and like I did with this one here. See, this material, this Tyvek-like material, I put it in the outer side just for the purpose of giving it some strength so that I don't rip it while I'm moving, or, you know, rolling it or transporting it or anyway. So anyway, you're gonna see what happened during this video. So I'm not gonna tell you any in advance until the very end. Now, the second time I used it inside of the sleeping bag, opposed to what I intended to do with this, and it was a total success. So let's see what happens during the video, okay? Hey, hello. This is TainoXtreme. I don't know how much you will be able to appreciate what I'm showing you. You know, what I mean appreciate is be able to see. It's I'm inside of my tent right now. Outside is like 20 degrees, 23 degrees or lower. I'm in the process of testing this backpack most outer layer of warmth that I added. Let me show you. I don't know, I'm going to try to, you know, hold in the upper side of the camera, maybe in the lower side, like that. So this is a sleeping bag. Here's my pillow. It's freezing cold. My mat. And this is the most outer layer that I added. It has Velcro in different corners along. See, it doesn't go anywhere. It stays with the upper panel of the sleeping bag. And I'm in the process of getting inside, having a good night
sleep and see what the result is. Hopefully I'm not gonna need to put on another layer. That's what I expect, not to have to put on another layer because of the cold weather, but tomorrow is expected towards the morning time to temperatures drop down to perhaps around the one figures cold. I'm talking about maybe 9 degrees, and with the wind chill factor they say that it's going to be a lot lower, like in the negatives. So let's see what happens. If it gets cold, oh well, I just put on another layer, and I'm in the backyard of my house. I can always go inside. So this is a good moment to test this. I don't know if I was covering my face too much. I thought it was a good moment to test this because I don't want to test this when I'm up in the mountains and there's no escape, there's no rescue, there's no second chance. You know, right now I have all the chances of my life, you know. So, okay, I'll see you in the morning, all right? Bye. Good morning, YouTube. I had the worst night that I ever had camping. My invention did not work, but I have a strong theory about, you know, what went wrong, and it's something that is correctable. When I go back to the drawing table, sort of speaking, I'm going to explain you why, but it was terrible. Towards the morning time, I decided, you know, thinking about why everything was so colder than ever before, I decided to take off that layer, take it off completely, and I started feeling some warmth, which is contradicting to, in theory, what this should have done for me. What I had to do was to wear double, triple layer in my upper body, 4 layers. I have 4 layers, and then 3 layers in my bottom body. So, and then that's the only way I was able to sleep warm. And then I had double socks, wool socks in my feet. Like I said, I'm going back to the drawing table, and I'll tell you what my theory is. I'm going to make some corrections, and then I'll get back to testing this again. I have faith that this is going to work. It should work, and I'm going to make it work, okay? So, see you later. I thought it was a good chance to test this here because I'm in the backyard of my house. I can always, you know, get back inside of the house and rescue myself. You know, on the other hand, if I try to do this test up in the mountains, you know, there's no second chance. And, you know, what I've got is what I've got. And, you know, usually when you go up in the mountains for backpacking purposes, you know, you walk up the mountains like maybe a couple of miles, 3 miles, the least. That's what I do. You know, if it gets too cold that I cannot tolerate it, going back those 3 miles at night, and then have somebody to accompany me or to take me because it's so cold and I'm legally blind, I don't think that's gonna happen. Well, I've used this sleeping bag in very cold weather, and I got away with, you know, putting on a second layer in my upper body, and that was pretty good. So let's see what happens. Temperatures are expected to go down to the 1 figures, and with the wind chill factor, they say it's gonna feel like -5, something like that. All right, so let's see what happens. I'll see you in the morning. Hey YouTube, good morning. It's me, I survived. I'll show you the inner layer that I made for my, well, I call it now an inner layer, but when I made it, I intended it to be not a layer. I don't know if I'm pointing at it correctly. Remember, I'm legally blind. See, this is the inner part, the bottom part of it. This is the upside, or the outer part. And you can tell it has this shiny part. It's like a space blanket kind of thing. This is the reflective portion of it, and this is the pactive. I call it pactive house wrap material. I'm going to make a change in this, since I'm going to use it in the in the inside of my sleeping bag from now on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change that outer, pack tape, house wrap thing. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to take it out. Yeah, I'm going to dispose of it, and I'm going to replace it with this very unreal light. It's called nylon. That is 1 ounce. Yes, it's 1 ounce per square yard. It's called something weird like optimum, something like that. What I'm expect for this is to be lighter than what it is right now. Right now it's like 7 point something ounces. I expect it to be drop it down to maybe the 3 ounces, 3.5 ounces, something like that to make it lighter. You know how it is. You gotta make things lighter as much as possible. All right. Yes, I survived. It was a much better idea to use it inside of the sleeping bag. It was a mistake to use it outside, at least in the fashion that I used it. Well, but it works. That's what counts. I added, I don't know how many more degrees of warmth to my sleeping bag with 7 ounces, expecting it to drop it down to 3 more ounces. This is not the appropriate sleeping bag for this kind of activity, though, because it is so thin, it is so light. But it was a 55 degrees sleeping bag, and I turned it into like perhaps a 30-degree sleeping bag, and I'm using it for temperatures lower than 20 degrees. Yeah, you can call me crazy. But what I learned from this experience is, there's no way around of using a much lighter sleeping bag other than a heavier one when it comes to synthetics, that is intended for lower temperatures like 0 degree or 5 degrees or something like that. I guess I was trying to use the wrong sleeping bag for the wrong purpose, but it works. I survived. So yeah, 2 thumbs up for me. Okay. How do I turn this up? Hey, it's me again. Just wanted to show you around a little bit to give you an idea how cold it was. All that is now. Yeah, look at my tent. I'm in the backyard of my house. It snowed yesterday. It was a perfect occasion to test this. I didn't have any backpacking trip intended, but I didn't want to, let this season pass by without at least a sleepover overnight in the snow. Well, what do you do when you don't have money to go on a backpacking trip? You go and camp out in the back of your house, in your backyard. There's nothing better. It's cheaper, and there it is. All right. So, signing out.
Well, you saw what happened. I had one very miserable night the first time I used this right on top and the outside of my sleeping bag, and I have one wonderful, very warm, cozy night when I used this in the inside of my sleeping bag, right on my chest. My theory is that because this was on top of my sleeping bag and was not sealed all around, I had just small patches of Velcro every so many inches, and the space in between Velcros, the air was filtering in between this sleeping bag and this accessory, and this reflective material was reflecting all that cold air right on top. The cold air was trapped there, bouncing back to my chest, and it actually made my sleeping bag colder than ever. It was a surprise for me, but it was fun to experiment with this, and it was a good experiment, a good experience, and it was a painful one. But the second night was great, and so this was wonderful using it inside of the sleeping bag. So I guess I will never use this in the outside of the sleeping bag unless I decide to put zippers around or strips of Velcro that will not allow any air filtering between this material and the sleeping bag. I'm not feeling very enthusiastic about doing that anymore. I guess I'm gonna keep on using this inside of the sleeping bag. How much this weighs? This is, well, the Insultex-like material, I weighed it was around a little more than 2 ounces, and the other material, the Tyvek-like material, was around 2 ounces also. So this was between 3 and 4 ounces. That is well worth it, because it's keeping me from having to spend more money in another sleeping bag. My goal was, in reality, to make my sleeping bag, you know, more suitable for colder months of the winter time, and not having to, you know, replace my sleeping bag for another one. You know how it is, you know, backpackers, they have one sleeping bag for the warmer months and another sleeping bag for the colder months. But my sleeping bag now is so versatile that I can use all year round. But I don't use it all year round. I use a very thin sleeping bag when I go to sleep. I go backpacking during the summer. Actually, I've used it only like maybe twice, because I don't like going backpacking in the summertime. So I guess that's not for me. You can, you know, never mind that, I said. So anyways, I highly recommend this. My 2 thumbs up for it when I use it inside of my sleeping bag, 2 thumbs down when I use it in the outside of my sleeping bag. But like I said, if I put, you know, strips of Velcro sealing all around my sleeping bag, 2 thumbs up maybe, but I'm not going to do that, because I'm not willing to add more weight. That represent, you know, more ounces adding to my backpack load. So I'm not going to do that. All right. I hope you liked my presentation. I hope you take it into consideration. And I guess, you know, the moral of all this, you know, story that I'm telling you about my sleeping bag is that you don't necessarily have to go out there and buy yourself a more expensive sleeping bag just because your sleeping bag is not good enough for the colder months. All you have to do is come up with some ideas. You know, there are some other accessories that they sell at the store, like inner bags, liner bags, to add more warmth and protect the inner side of the sleeping bag from getting dirty, and outer bags to put it outside of your sleeping bag to make it warmer. But those items are a lot heavier than this. All right, and that's what I was looking forward to doing also. Save money and save weight. All right, until my next video, I'll see you guys later.